Well, a splendid look at the first hole at Belgrade Lakes, played from a highly elevated tee onto a shelf, the green way below. It's a hole that opens and gives the golfer great confidence. It's very wide, no bunkers even by the green. You can see in the foreground right there some wooden ties which feature later on in the golf course. Now if you miss right on that cut fairway, you've got a very difficult little chip because you see the semi-rough on the right of the green, you're playing up to it. The second hole, par 3, middle length par 3, that huge bunker on the left of the green, and those tiny pots ready to grab the errant golf ball. Third hole, par 5, for the longer hitters, the very good players, reachable in 2. A short drive over rocks, but no specific great carry. And again, a wide, generous fairway, but avoid those rocks on the right. They can be nasty in spite of the fact the designer will tell you that they're engineered for the ball to kick back. Don't believe him. You play over a small stream, obviously danger on the left. Big shelf bunker, so not too difficult a shot from that, but an inviting hole and a possible birdie chance. The fourth hole, longish par 4, a gaggle of bunkers there on the left which can catch the unwary. See, it's a little bit tighter, you've got to get through that narrow gap, and ideally you're better playing on to the left edge of the fairway towards those bunkers because it gives you a better view into the green. Quite a long par 4, so probably not one to take your 3-wood out for your tee shot. And the green, just subtle breaks, nothing difficult, no buried elephants. Now the par 3, the second par 3, one of my favourite holes on the golf course actually. Beautiful little shot over the pond, but plenty of room to work with. One fairly deep bunker on the right, but the feature you can see at the back of this green, there's a couple of wood tie bunkers. They're not really going to come into play a lot, but they make a nice aesthetic. Moving on down the 6th hole, par 5, relatively short par 5. Fairway drifts a little to the right where, as you can see, there is some trouble. A lot of rocks on this golf course. I think we buried more of them than we actually used, but there's still thousands of boulders scattered about the place. Attractive lakes to the right, which are used for the irrigation system, and a snaky bunker down the right of this green, but again a fairly modest green in terms of gradient. As we go to the 7th hole, dogleg right, par 4, very much a question of positioning and shaping your tee shot. If you can hit a fade, which most people can off the tee, it gives you a slight advantage. It fits the angle of the fairway. Over a little brook and onto a green which gives you a generous bounce from the right hand side. Beautiful site though, tree clad. All these holes were cut, they were hewn from a vast forest. Another favourite for me, the par 3 8th hole with its little burn running down the left hand side and a little more treatment back left. Note the wooden tied bunker, and again a fairly smooth green. An easier shot probably from the right hand bunker because you're going uphill. Now the twisty 9th hole, the tee shot, all important. Trouble on the left, but don't venture too far to the right. The forest awaits there and that little clump of trees just sneaks out into the fairway. The second shot is uphill, The green has a small false front, but a wonderful backdrop with the clubhouse top left. Magnificent trees and beautiful canopies. It's generally hard to find on courses such as this, but they're magnificent. Now the elevated tee shot from the 10th. Get a very good view of the fairway here. And it's a straightforward hole. There's just a couple of bunkers on the right by the green. No great trouble off the tee. The second shot though, slightly uphill, so it's advisable probably to take an extra club. It'll take a little bit of distance off the second shot. Beautiful autumnal views though. What a delight. Okay, the 11th hole. This is what I'd call a nice resting type of hole. There's no bunkers from the tee. It's perfectly wide. Of course, if you hit one that goes miles right or miles left, you're going to be in the woodland, which won't be too good, but gives the golfer a really good start to this hole. And again, very little trouble round the green. The bunkers at the back of the green, the ball will roll on from a shot pitching just short, and for want of a better word, it's a resting hole. It's a hole where you can relax a little bit. Now the par 5, one of the biggest boulders on the site right there on the right. We couldn't actually move it, and it did make a very nice feature, I have to say. You play over a small wetland, and then the ball will either stay on that plateau there or roll a little further on, and you'll have a short pitch shot into the green. A fairly deep bunker on the left, but again a very playable hole, and for the lower handicap player a definite chance of a birdie. The 13th. Unlucky for some, but if you hit a good tee shot, it's one of the longer, it's somewhere around 200 yards off the back. Again, there's a carry over a little burn there and a couple of bunkers off to the right, but a very generous target. Again, not a penal hole, but to make a 3 is a good result. And if you make a 2, well, that's absolutely wonderful. Curvaceous hole, the 14th, doglegging to the right, that lone tree standing, guarding the left-hand side of the green. Again, fairly open green. That's one of the features of this golf course. You're not having to make a lot of false carries to get to the pin. So it leaves the course open for the majority of whether you're 40, handicap or scratch. It's a good deal. The 15th hole, just the 2 bunkers on the right, but the fairway narrows down right in that little gap. It's only a drive and a pitch, but again, you've got to be careful here with the tee shot. It's a potential birdie. You might just have a sandown or a wedge to the green if you hit a long drive, but you've got to hit this fairway. Coming out of the semi-rough, you're not going to get a lot of action on the ball, and it's going to make the shot to the green, the approach, far more difficult. Aha, the 16th hole, beautiful par 5, and look at that maple tree. In a few weeks' time, that's going to go a gorgeous shade of red. The fairway narrows down just by the tree, and there's some more bunkers on the right with ties, but they don't really come into play. They're more cosmetic. The old wall on the left, eager to collect a ball, and that nest of bunkers on the right to a fairly narrow green. Par 5 though, with a bit of luck, you're only hitting a short shot for your 3rd. And again, if you hit a good pitch, good chance for a birdie. The 17th hole, a par 3, guarded on the right. You might get a good kick in though from the left of the green. Some undulation on this green, but not difficult undulation, no buried elephants here. A good tee shot, and you might not get close to the pin, but at least you've got a long putt for a 2 and potentially a 2 putt, which will give you a nice par. Par, always a good number. Now the final hole, the 18th, the beautiful lake off to the right, the lone tree that stands there defending the right side of the fairway, and a downhill second shot. This is a double green with the 9th. The green, collectively, both greens must be at least 70 or 80 yards wide. Again, depends on the pin placement, quite a lot of undulation on this green, but it is a downhill second shot, and you can see exactly what you face and what you have to do. A closing hole, and I'm sure there'll be an ice cold beer for you when you get up to the clubhouse.